welcome to YHWH teaching today. We are going to talk about words today. And do you know what the meaning of the words are that you're actually using? Do you know where the words came from or the depth of the words? And that indicates what you're actually worshiping. When you go to church or when you're praising at home or you're spending time with your God, do you know what that word actually means? So we want to talk about words today. So I'm Charity and this is Eric.
Hi everybody.
And so let's start with truth. Eric, what is truth?
Truth is the same for everyone, everywhere, all the time. Meaning that if something is changed just to mean something else, it is no longer truth, it is a fact. And facts change, truth does not. So whatever, like numbers are true. 1 has always been a 1 from the dawn of time. 10 has always been a 10, 5 has always been a 5. It has never changed with the meaning of the number.
That's a really good example, because if numbers change, then you couldn't rely on math equations.
Exactly, and words are the same way. So we have to understand where words come from and what they mean to make sure that we're using the proper words. So for example, we think blessed means peace, love.
To give you a good gift.
Give you a good gift, something good. But if you actually do a search for the synonyms to blessed, goddamn is a synonym to blessed. And that's a pretty awful word.
That's pretty terrible.
Yes. Along with
until
curse.
you find out what the word God means.
Yes, yeah, you do, that's right. So we wanted to talk about words because when you use the wrong words, and you think they mean something that they don't, you're actually participating in something you probably wouldn't want to.
So we even went to the etymology of some of these words, like the word bless. We went to the etymology of it because we thought, how could the word bless actually mean to curse? Because when we looked it up in the Strong's Concordance, the definition of bless was to curse. And so we followed the etymology back and we found that the word to bless came from the word blood. And it didn't exist before the 18th century. So this is a new word. And so how do words just get created?
Or changed,
right?
The meanings change.
And if it started out as the word blood, how does it change to the word to curse? And then from there change to the word to give a good gift in a blessing.
Yes.
And so that would mean that the word in and of itself is a lie.
Yes. It's either a fake word or it's changed to the point where it's useless. It should not be used.
Right, because you don't know what it actually means.
Mm-hmm.
And blood's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you think the word means to give a gift, a good gift or something good, or you're wishing good upon somebody, but it means blood, well, they're not correlated.
It doesn't correlate. It doesn't make any sense. And in that amongst itself, when you actually say bless you, you're actually saying curse you. If we go back to the original meaning of that word. Or
if we go back to the Strong's meaning of the word.
Yes.
And if we went back to the etymology of the word, it would mean blood you.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So how is that giving someone a good blessing, right?
Yes.
Because it's not really blessing them, when really what you're looking for is the word shalom. Mm-hmm. And shalom is a Hebrew word that means nothing missing, nothing lacking, all the peace of YHWH being given unto someone, which is probably the word that they really wanted when they used the word blessed. That's probably they're trying to find a way to translate the meaning of shalom.
But they translated it correctly, and that we've noticed that in a lot of the Strong's and Bible is where they've translated these words that really probably shouldn't have been used, because, for instance, God can mean your God, it can mean the God of this world, it can mean the devil, it can mean angels, it can mean strong man, it can mean whatever you worship.
Right, because God is just like Lord. It's anything that is greater than you or above you.
Or Elohim, for that matter, strong man.
Mm-hmm.
And people have said that these words are meaning God, but they really don't.
Meaning they want them to mean Yahweh.
Yes, that's correct.
And Yahweh is the name in Hebrew that was given to the Israelites. And in the English Bible, it's translated the great I am that I am. Well, when you look at the Strong's for Yahweh, it says the existent one. And so, and that same word is also in Greek. It's to exist. And so he describes himself as the existent one, as in saying, I've always existed and I always will exist.
That's correct.
And which is why we get that term, I am that I am, is kind of saying the same thing. But God does not say that same thing.
Exactly.
The word God is very generic.
It's very generic.
It's kind of like saying, hey, you, that man over there.
Yeah. And someone that if you really love Yahweh, you want to use his names. I was praying one day, sitting on the couch, and Yahweh said, you know me, use my names. And so I started using Yahweh and later Ruach HaKodesh and Yehoshua for what people call Jesus. And I went to church and I was telling somebody that I was using Yahweh's names because he was saying God and I was saying Yahweh. And I was telling him why, and he says, oh, well, you got to do your conviction. And I walked away from the conversation and I was thinking, my conviction? No, this is what Yahweh told me to do. It's not a conviction. It's not what I feel in my spirit. He told me to use his names because I know him. Mm-hmm. And then...
Which means you have a relationship with him.
Yes, means you have a relationship with him. So as I was walking away, the Ruach HaKodesh said to me, who are they worshiping? Who are they talking about? And I was thinking about that, and I was pondering that in my head. I was walking away, and I'm like, oh, if you don't know who you're worshiping or who you're talking to, who are you worshiping? Right. So, for instance, if your God is alcohol, and you're in the church screaming out to God to save you from alcohol, well, your God is alcohol already, so are you worshiping your alcoholism? I mean, it's not good to not use the call to cry out to something in a general name. You wouldn't go to when you go to the park and there's a bunch of kids running around and you want to find your son, you wouldn't just call out, hey kid.
Right.
You would call out to your son.
Right.
And you would use
his name. Right.
Not just some random, hey kid. That's not, your son's not going to come to that. He's going to go, why is my dad yelling at all these kids?
Right.
And it's the same with Yahweh.
It's the same when a child calls to his parents.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. When you want your parents to answer you, you use their names, or you at least,
the name that you give them,
yes.
Right? So like mom and dad, right?
Yes.
Your mom and dad, and they know your tone, your voice to them, right? Mm-hmm. But when you get older, sometimes there's times when you actually use their first names. Mm-hmm. Like when I worked for my dad, he was my boss, and so during working hours, I used his name. I called him by his first name because he wasn't dad at work; he was my boss at work. So I needed to use his name. And so understanding the names behind things and why we're using things makes a big difference in the results that you're going to get.
Yes.
And if you don't know who you're crying out to when you're trying to worship, then do the angels know who you're talking to?
They wouldn't.
Because if you don't even know, how do they know? And you might think that you are talking to Yahweh, but if you're not using his name, there's a good possibility that the angels don't know that that's what you're talking about because they can't read your mind.
Yeah, and they don't have the Ruach HaKodesh in it, so they have to go to the throne room to talk to Yahweh.
Right. They have to go to the throne and get permission or confirmation on what they're supposed to do for the light angels. But the dark angels, they're going to take advantage of every situation.
Oh, yeah. If you cry out to God, they're going to be like, oh, we must be talking about the devil.
Right. So you got one trying to do good in your life and one trying to do bad in your life. And the one trying to do bad in your life is going to get the upper hand on the one trying to do good if you're using the wrong words, because the one trying to do good's got to keep running back to the throne room to find out what it is that you're talking about. And it seems kind of silly when we talk about it that way, but the only one who knows really what you're saying is inside you is the Ruach HaKodesh, because the angels don't live inside you. They're around you. So they can't read your minds. They're pretty smart and they've been around a long time, so there's things they've figured out. But they can't read your mind.
No, they can't.
And so if you talk quietly to Yahweh inside your head, Yahweh knows what you're talking about. But then your angels are going to have to go to Yahweh to get the answer.
Yeah.
If you don't speak out loud.
Yeah.
And so that's why the teachings that talk about, well, pray in tongues and pray out loud, the whole reason for that is because you're telling angels what to do. That also might seem like that's kind of interesting, but who lives on the inside of you is Yehoshua. And Yehoshua is in charge of all of the angel armies. And so if he's the one speaking through you, you are commanding the angels. That is your job, is to command them to do things. You're not talking to them directly, and you're not praying to them by no means, right? But you're doing your job as a king on this earth. You were made to be a king, a priest, and a prophet of your own life. And so when you make declarations, when you're declaring things over your life, you're actually telling the angels to go do this for you.
Yes.
Even though that might not be the way in which you say it. So when you declare, my truck will run forever, you're actually putting angels on assignment to make sure your truck runs forever.
That's correct. Yeshua's at the throne room at the side of Yahweh. And he's expecting us to put the devils under his feet as his footstool. So that means we're the ones that have to make the declarations to get the angels to do things. We have to really know what we're saying and use the right words to get that done. If we're using the wrong words, we're going to get mixed results. The devil is really good at mixing. A double-minded man will get a double-minded man gets nothing.
Receives nothing.
So think of all the words, meaning we think blessed means blessing, but it actually means cursing. So that is a double-minded word. So using that word, you're going to get nothing. And there's many other words like that. If you do the etymology searches for Elohim, it comes back to strong man or mighty one. That isn't God.
And you
That's
gotta go.
Yahweh.
And you gotta go back to the beginning of these words as far back as we can go.
Yes.
So if the word was created in the 13th century, in the 14th century, in the 18th century, that's not the beginning of the word. It had to come from somewhere else.
Yes. It's either a part of another word or a derivative of another word.
Right. So you have to go back. So when you're looking at the Strongs, the words in Greek actually are coming from Hebrew, because Hebrew is an older language than Greek. And so, not that Greek was created off of Hebrew, but when you're looking at the Strongs, the same words are used in the Greek and in the Hebrew. So you have to find those same words in the Old Testament to see what they actually meant to start with. Because language crosses across humanity.
Yes. Many different languages mix the words or get root words from other languages.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No language is in and of itself only from that language that it was created.
Yes.
Like English is a hodgepodge of all these different languages being brought together. So we think our word is an English word, but it could have come from Latin, it could have come from French, it could have come from Hebrew. There's some like Baltic language words in there. There's words from the Scandinavias in there. There's all kinds of words in English that came from another language.
Yeah. good word to research to find out how double-minded words are used is the word holy and the word spirit. You can go in the Strongs and look up the meanings of the word holy and the meanings of the word spirit, and it'll tell you right there what they actually mean, what it actually means, and it doesn't mean what you think it is.
And when you do that, look at the definitions of the word from before the colon and the dash. So you'll see it. You'll see the word in Hebrew or Greek, and then for like the word holy, go to the Hebrew, because that's where you need to start. And the word spirit, start in Genesis, because that is where the beginning of these words actually come from. And so it'll give you the word that is listed in Hebrew, and then it'll tell you the definition, and anything that's in parentheses is just to help you understand. It's not actually part of the definition. And then you'll get to a point where you'll see a colon and a dash. Anything after the colon and the dash was created after the 13th century. So the original meaning of the word comes before the colon and the dash. And most people aren't taught this on how to read the Strongs.
Yeah.
And so they don't understand where these words come from. And so you want the beginning part of that definition. The end part, after the colon and the dash, those are new words that were created later and not the original meanings of that word. And so when you look at that, you will find that these words don't actually mean what you think that they mean.
That's correct. Yep.
And when we get back to the original meanings, then it starts changing your language.
It does.
Go back and look at some of these words and investigate the words, and don't just take what you find on the internet, because there are a lot of things on the internet that have been manipulated. And
yeah, that's true.
AI is definitely trying to change a lot of these words that are out there. And so if you have a hard copy Strong's book, if you have a hard copy book of the etymology of words that go back much farther than the 18th century, those are the kind of books that you really want to look at, because you can get closer to the depth of the word, closer to the original. And who knows if we even have the originals, but we can at least get back to what truth we think we know from the beginning of the etymology of the words. Because anything created after the 13th century, that is something that has been changed from something else from somewhere prior to that.
Yep. That's why we use the words Yahweh, Ruach HaKodesh, and YHWH, because we want to be as specific as possible when we speak. And only speak truth.
Right.
Because if you're not speaking truth, what are you speaking? And who are you talking to? And what are you saying?
And who's listening to you?
That's right. Yeah. Because
right.
We only see 16% of what's around us, 1/6 of the light. So we don't know what's around us. We're not seeing the full picture of this realm. We certainly don't. So we have to know exactly what we're saying and who we're talking to and who we're asking to speak to us. Because some of those words, if you do the etymology on it, you're going to think, well, wait a second. I'm not actually asking who I think I'm asking to speak to me.
Right? And that's a really good point, because you might think Ruach HaKodesh is talking to you, but it's really not.
And it's really the Holy Spirit. When you figure out who the Holy Spirit is, or what that actually means.
What that means, you'll understand the joke. Right? Because the enemy can put thoughts in your head. It's all through words, right? The enemy can put a thought in your head, can think about the old cartoons where you have a little devil on one shoulder and a little angel on the other shoulder. You've got one trying to talk good and one trying to talk bad in your life. And sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. I mean, all good things come from heaven. So if it's good, it's coming from Yahweh. If it's not good, it's not coming from Yahweh. But remember, the devil's a master manipulator. So if he can perpetrate something good in your life to get you to do something bad, he's going to.
Yeah.
And
that's so true.
So you have to understand who you're actually talking to. And that's where using the right words will help. Because if you're calling out to Yahweh, Yahweh is going to talk to you. And when the light when the light bringer, the light creator, the light exister shows up, the enemy has to flee. The enemy can't be around because there's no darkness in him. There is no darkness whatsoever in Yahweh. And so you can't have darkness around you when he shows up. So if he's answering your call, the devils, they flee. They know what he looks like.
Yeah.
They run away. And the problem is we call them back.
Yeah.
After Yahweh leaves.
With
Or,
our
I mean, he
words.
doesn't really leave, but
A lot of things.
yeah. We're the one, when we stop focusing on Yahweh, is when we call him back.
Yep.
And we call back those devils. And so, or the things in our flesh that we think we're seeing that were chased away. So, really focus on your words and think about your words. Do some study and take your time to actually build that relationship with Yehoshua and get to know who lives on the inside of you.
That's correct.
We love you, and shalom to all of you.
Shalom.